Gloria Mayfleld Banks told me that her calling is to move ambitious women from ordinary to extraordinary. See how a little girl with dyslexia got into Harvard Business School and then made her way to the top of the corporate ladder. She's truly energy in motion, and you get to meet her right now in this one-of-a-kind interview. Gloria, thank you so much for coming. It's so nice to have you here.
It's exciting to be here. It really is. It really is.
Well, tell everybody about your story and kind of your claim to fame.
Okay. I'm excited about this project number one because this is such a huge lift for women, and I'm all about women. I've been dealing with women for a very long time. And so I'm from Detroit originally, and I'm the third of four girls, brought up in a phenomenal household of middle class, fabulous parents. They were married for 62 years. Before my dad passed, and my mom lived to 94 years old. So it's been a great ride. And so I left Detroit to go to college at Howard University. But before I left high school, of course, I was a cheerleader. You could tell, right?
Yes, I could.
I was a captain. You could tell that, right? We went to state champs, and we won. You can tell that, okay? So that's my story. But when I was in the 7th grade, they found out I was dyslexic. And so I have a reading disorder. And I still have a reading disorder, but I push through. It's nothing that you can get rid of. All you can do is get better and better at it. And so both my parents were educators, and they worked with me a long time before they knew I was dyslexic, and pushed. And I'm grateful for that push now. But I went on to college, went to Howard University, HBCU, very excited, and left from there to work for Polaroid Corporation in Boston, where I worked with nothing but men. I did total manufacturing, had no idea what I was getting myself into, except I wanted leadership. And I knew then I wanted leadership, so I took the job in manufacturing as leadership. And I did that for 2 years, and then I applied to Harvard Business School. When I got into Harvard, I was very excited. I remember calling my mom and saying, "Mom, I got into Harvard. And she said, "You did?" Because I was dyslexic. And it was so hard for me to go to school. But I went. And it was great. And I excelled there. And then I left from there, and I took a job with IBM. And I became a saleswoman for IBM. And I became number one in the branch. Now, that was a little unique situation because most people don't go to Harvard and end up in sales. But at that year, in that time, IBM was looking for high caliber performers to be in their sales force. And I landed that position, and I'm so grateful because that's when I fell in love with sales. And I learned so much in that time. And then I became number one in the branch, and they pulled me into the office to offer me a promotion. And they said, "Gloria, congratulations. You're number one in the branch. We want to promote you." I said, "Great." They said, "We want you to come in and teach everybody else how to do what you've done." I said, "Great." And they said, "You're going to come off commission, go on straight salary." I said, "Wonderful." And they said, "You're going to take a decrease in pay." Oh. Okay. That rocked my world because it was at a time when everybody thought that was the dream career, to sell for IBM and to be in that company at that time and blah, 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 blah. But the reality was I was going to work harder for less money, and that didn't reside with me at all. And I think that was probably one of the biggest courageous decisions that I made, was to walk away. And I walked away, and I took a job with Strategist Computers and became a marketing manager. And it was in that realm that I then went back and worked for Harvard Business School in admissions. But during that time, my girlfriend invited me to a Mary Kay skincare class. I didn't even wear makeup. I wasn't thinking about entrepreneurship. I specifically went to Harvard Business School to climb the corporate ladder, to break the glass ceiling, which I now know is brick. It wasn't going anywhere. But that was the deal. So I just sat there. Now, I want you to know, when I was at that skincare class, thinking to myself, I'm so busy, I'm so overwhelmed, I have no time. I was in the midst of going through a divorce. I knew the divorce was coming. And I had endured 10 years of domestic violence, and no one knew. My mom didn't know, my sisters didn't know, my girlfriend who lived 2 doors down didn't know. No one knew. It spoke to the fortitude and the attitude I have, which is an optimistic attitude, and that thing like, I can fix it, I'll change, it'll change, it'll go away, blah, 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 blah. But it was there, and it was deep, and we had a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. And typical hard times. I had gone through a miscarriage of 3 babies before I had the 2. So it was just a dark time. And I tell women all the time, there's always darkness before there's light. So I started the Mary Kay career. I started building my own business and I had no idea that it was going to turn out like this. I had no idea that I would be in 9 countries. I had no idea that I would create a sales force that was this determined and this magnificent and this exciting and this fever of energy that we've taken on a worldwide basis. It's been amazing. So
tell everyone who you are in Mary Kay.
well, now I'm an elite executive, national sales director, but bottom line is I'm number 1 in all of Mary Kay. And it's been an exciting ride. It's been 33 years that I've been building my business. And it's been a ride because it has been something that has inspired women, because those women inspired me. Mary Kay Ash was a tremendous inspirational role model. And I look back, you think about things that you want in your life. And I remember writing down what I wanted to become. I put it in a frame and I put it on a desk. And the frame gets moved around and got buried away and brought back out. But bottom line, I said, I wanted to speak, teach, and train on a worldwide basis. I wanted to be a role model while my family grew in love. And that I really took women to another level. And you know how you put something away and you bring it back up, and that's exactly what I've done.
How long ago was that? How long ago did you put that down?
Ooh, I put it down probably 7 to 10 years ago. I wrote it. It was just like a thought. You go and you hear people talk about write down your dream. And so I wrote it down and I put it away. And I found it about 2 or 3 years ago. And I said, wow, that's exactly what happened.
So to let everyone know, you're number 1 in all of Mary Kay.
Yes.
And you told me how many women. What is that number?
It's about 8,000 women that I lead right now. And I lead that with 2 other businesses.
No, it's you're number 1 out of 3.5.
Oh, I'm number 1 out of 3.5 million women worldwide. Yes. Oh, yes. That's the statistic.
That's pretty huge. So
Yes.
you're number 1 in Mary Kay out of
Yes.
3.5 million women who sell Mary Kay.
Yes, who sell Mary Kay. And we're in over 40 countries.
Wow.
I'm in 9 of those countries.
So how did you do that? How do you start, and how do you know how to do that?
Well, the thing about this industry is that there's mentors in front of you, which really make a difference. I think it is a mindset that I've worked on for a very long time. I think I brought a strong constitution of confidence, and I've worked hard on my confidence. And I think that my confidence has become very strong because I have been on a mission to help other women build their confidence. And it was on a platform that I built on financial independence for women. I think a lot of people choose what they want to stand for. And I choose to stand for financial independence for women. I want women to understand how important it is to have money. And I do not hide from it. And the reason for that is because I really do believe it determines their choices. It's not so much for the material things that you can get, but the choices that you get to make, where you live, what you eat, what you do, the type of security that you have in your family, the type of choices that you're able to make and not make, the way that you can take care of your children and your parents, all is determined by people who are around you that guide you in becoming better financially so that you can make different choices.
So do you coach your team and the women who work with you? You teach them?
It's a lot of coaching. It's a lot of awareness coaching. It's a lot of digging inside of them and showing them how much more they can become. I do believe that one of my secrets is I have a high capacity to believe in other women's capacity. They're much bigger, much stronger than they think. They just have no clue how powerful they are until they need to see it. But in order to become successful in business, you've got to be able to see it before it's pulled out of you because of some disaster. When we have had dark times in our life, we find our capacity. But when you're in business, you find that capacity, you build upon that capacity, and you find the capacity in other people as well. And that's where I've become really strong.
So I'm on your team.
Yes.
And I'm just starting out.
Yeah.
Help me start. What would
Okay.
you tell me is the first step?
Okay, the first step. Well, interesting enough, because I do get asked that question. The first place I go is their dream. I think that women really need to know that they have to dream first, and they have to have the permission to dream big. The other thing that's really important is they need to know that their dreams have been diminished because of life. So we start out with big dreams. We got big dreams when we're little girls. And then life happens, discouragement happens, disappointments happen, men happen. I mean, there's different things that happen to us that cause us to question ourselves. People rob us of our self-esteem. They rob us of our confidence in making strong decisions. Girlfriends even question your decisions. Why do you want to live over there? Why did you put on that dress today? Why do you wear that hair? So I first start with the dreams. Then I start asking them what is it that they need? Because what they want and what they need is two different things. I honestly believe that they have to see this as a business, not a social club. We are here to work. And so I explain what the business model is, and I make sure that they understand the business model. I also tell them what you need to become to be an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is different than being an employee. When you're an employee, you really are conducted to think the way someone else needs you to think to help them to become successful. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to think about how you're going to conduct yourself to cause you and yours to be more successful on a consistent basis. You have to be the most flexible, changeable, bounce back ability person on the face of this earth. And that's what I teach.
Okay, so we start with what we want.
Yeah.
And then what do you mean by want versus need? And how does that help us?
Okay, what you want is probably something bigger than what you have right now. What you want, what you dream about is what you see as the possibilities. What you need is what you need tomorrow. What you need this month. It could be money. It could be confidence. It could be relationships. It could be fortitude. But what do you need right now, and how do you go about getting it? When you have a business like Mary Kay, you have to know product is important, customers are important, and skill is important. I teach this all the time. I call it the Gloria STEM program. It's STEM. It's skill set, it's time management, it's emotional management, and it's money management. And so when I teach that over and over again, I can ask any woman in any industry, if you're frustrated, it's in one of those four areas. If you want to excel, it's in one of those four areas. And that honestly has caused me to not only create millionaire status for myself, but to create it for so many of the people I work with.
So you're moving on to more coaching. Didn't you
Yes.
say you're retiring?
Yes.
After
Yes.
how many years?
33 years. 33 years.
What are you teaching next?
Okay, what I'm teaching now, really, I'm very excited about this. I'm teaching women how to create their own queendom, their own personal queendom. I believe this in my soul, that you are better when you're better for yourself, better for your family, better for your community, and therefore you can be better for your career. I'm teaching women how it's okay to invest in themselves. I'm teaching them how it's okay to be sad in a moment, because joy will come, but you gotta be solid in that place where you are right now so that you can become stronger. I'm teaching women that it is possible to go from ordinary to extraordinary. I talk about extra all the time. I like extra. Extra is where I reside. And I teach people how to get to extra. And I want them to know that work is good, but winning is best.
What does winning mean for you right now?
It means, for me,
Yeah.
it means finding my passion over and over and over again and using my passion over and over again. So for me, I like to see the light bulb go on in other women's minds. I like to see them thrive in an area that they did not know they were going to be able to thrive in. I like them to be able to pay for their kids' college education and their child has absolutely no debt. I like it when they can have their man in themselves come home if that's what they want to do and they want to build something together, or even individually. I like it when they are able to find the skill set that they did not know was inside of them to come out of them. And I want them to be able to thrive as entrepreneurs. Women are making different decisions today than they made 5 years ago, than they made 10 years ago. And having role models that dig into them that push them. I don't believe in the comfort zone. I believe there's no comfort in the comfort zone. I think you thrive outside that, and that's called passion. And that's where I want for myself, and that's what I want for other people as well.
So, dyslexic, Howard University, first, that's huge.
Yes.
And then explain to us again, you went to Harvard Business School?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Okay, so at the baseline, I want to tell you I'm very ambitious. I am an ambitious person. And I talk about being super bad all day long because I love women who are willing to be unapologetically powerful. I mean, I really thrive in that. However, the dyslexia was something that I was challenged by, but it brought out the other talents and gifts that I have. And I knew that young. I knew that young because I had to overcompensate for the people around me who were reading like this and doing math like it was no problem and typing, but it brought out my people skills. And so I leaned in to my people skills. I leaned in to my smile. I leaned in to bringing joy for other people. I am someone who can work really hard. I am someone who can study a lot. And I have learned how to humble myself in a place where I'm uncomfortable. So I'm at Harvard. I'm doing finance. It is the hardest thing ever. I'm sitting with some of the most amazing people. They're studying. We're in groups. We're pulling and expecting each other to pull their weight. So I ask a girlfriend of mine, get this, to read to me every day. And I explained it to her after she read it to me. Dyslexic people, it is studied. They are very smart. They just can't read. So I always tell people, reading is overrated. Audiobooks are awesome.
So if you hear it,
yes,
then it goes in a different
If
way.
I hear it, I can get it. If I read it, it takes forever. When I read something to my husband, he goes like this, please, just show me the degree again. Do you really have it? Do you really have it? Because it's hard for me to read out loud as well. But I really knew that that degree was something I wanted. And I wanted that degree badly. You see, my sister went to Howard University, and therefore I followed her to Howard. And then my sister went to Harvard Business School, and I went to Harvard Business School. So we're the only two African-American sisters that have ever graduated from Harvard Business School. And so it was, when you talk about role models, many times they're outside your family, and many times they're inside your family. So she was a force to be recognized, and I was somebody who was following that. The reason I bring up the man who was my professor in finance was I almost lost everything at Harvard because I couldn't get the finance down. And he brought me into the office and he said, you're struggling. You are struggling. I hear your words. I see your work, but you're struggling. So the lesson there was I had to come clean. They did not know I was dyslexic.
Wow.
I never unveiled that to them because I felt I would be judged and I felt it would be even harder for me. So when I told him, I saw his eyes change about me, not to someone who was like, oh my God, she'll never make it. It was, if she did this and came to me with this, I'm going to help her. And it changed from that point forward. You know, it's a magnitude that many of us have to embrace, that other people will believe in you. We are so used to people judging us and maybe putting us down because of our shortcomings. But in the world, really, when people see your shortcomings, the majority help you. We just don't hear those stories.
So you're saying be more authentic with them, be
Yes.
more honest about
Yes.
who you are.
Yes, because you're going to win anyway. You're going to win because you decided you were going to win. So I went into his office. I decided I was going to win, and I was going to have to reveal myself, and nothing was going to take it away from me. But he helped me. It made a difference.
Beautiful. How did you go from corporate America, attending a Mary Kay meeting and saying, okay, guess what? I'm changing everything.
Yes.
How did that happen?
Well, I'm so glad you asked me about that because I call this the next. We go through the next all the time. When I was going through a divorce, I had to go into the next. When I was becoming a single parent, I had to go to the next. When I was going from entrepreneurship into Mary Kay, I had to go through the next. And guess what? I know you'd be surprised. People are like, you went to Harvard Business School and now you're going to do Mary Kay? Like, really? So I had all the questions. People didn't understand. Here's the thing. When you really dream big, no one understands. When you want to do something huge, no one's going to get it. You've got to be the one that holds on to that, and you fight for it like it's nobody's business. So that was me fighting. So,
but what is it? Is this inner thing and you went, yes, that's it? Or is it maybe that's it? How do you know what the next thing is?
well, I think for me, well, here's what I think. I think it's different for different people. For me, it's competition. I thrive in it. I thrive in competition. And so I thrive when people say you can't do it. I thrive when people's eyebrow, that one eyebrow that I can't make go up, it goes up and I'm like, are you looking at me like I can't? It makes me dig so deep. And dig for me says don't ignore God, which is that conversation that you're having inside of you that says you can go for it. And so for me, I challenged myself. I want you to know it wasn't easy. I worked my Mary Kay business on the side for 2.5 years. I built a $500,000 business part-time. I kept my full-time job. Part of it was because of the income, but the other part of it was because I was fighting for my children. And when you fight for something that you want, you find your ability to do much more than anybody ever thought was inside of you. And so I discovered what was available to me. I fought for the next step. I tell people all the time, stop trying to focus on way out there. I love Martin Luther King's quote that says, focus on the stair, don't focus on the staircase. And so I went for it big and I kept climbing and climbing and I was taking other people with me. And what I was finding was that we sometimes live in a community where we're so comfortable on other people's opinions on what we should do. And I had to find the fortitude to try something that no one thought made sense. Making sense doesn't necessarily make sense. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Making sense sometimes comes from an area that you didn't know that it would come from. And I thrived in a community where I was going against the grain of entrepreneurship, the grain of a divorce, the grain of
corporate job,
single parenting, in a community in Boston where my kids really needed to go to private school. So I had extra bills that I had not anticipated, but I was going to fight. And that's what I did. And so now, because of the struggle, I taught other people how to do the same.
The millionaire within her. Yes. What does that mean to you?
First, I want to take you back. The reason I went to Harvard Business School was not because I didn't have the deserved level. To me, it meant I had the deserved level. I wanted it, and I was going to fight for it. But to reach the status of millionaire is a great role model, a great piece. Women everywhere need to see it, need to know. I remember when watching someone else become very successful. And I remember saying to myself, how did she do that? How did she do that? You look this way, you look that. How did she make that happen? And then when you get there, you're like, oh, I know exactly how that's done. And now I can teach other people how to do it. So to me, being at the millionaire status, especially because I have other businesses that contribute to that, I know how to create it different ways. And I know how to help other people create it different ways. But the millionaire status just lets you into the club to invite other people to the table. It's a very inspiring place to be. And it is important to me because I know so many other people deserve to be here and much more. I think what I've gained is fabulous, but it's nothing compared to what is left for me to get.
You are so inspiring. Thank you for sharing your story and for being here and teaching us.
Kristi, this has been super, super exciting for me. I mean, super exciting. I have to say this, that this mission for showing and profiling women like this is deep and passionate and needed. Thank you.
I have chills. I feel the same way.
Yeah, it's big.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Gloria took the opportunity of Mary Kay and elevated women with her huge success. It just goes to show you don't need to think of your own business. Sometimes a network marketing opportunity is just the ticket.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. But guess what? That is not important. What's important is your success online. I can help you start a successful, thriving business online, no matter how many times you have failed. If you have a desire to win, you can. All you need is Wi-Fi, a laptop or desktop, and be able to follow simple directions. Reach out to me and I can show you exactly how.